Geoff, hi, how are you doing?
I'm grand. I'm very well, thanks. How's things in London?
Well, lockdown, bit of a festival going on, but having fun, having fun.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for agreeing to spend some time with us and to talk about Bothies, I know is your great love and also something I'm very very fond of. You've got a new book out.
I have indeed. Yeah. It's a
It's your
year old.
second book.
It's a year old now, but
It's
it's
a
been
year old, but
they relaunched. Yes.
because of lockdown, it's just coming into its own now, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
And I'm certainly starting to look through it at the walks I'll be doing once I can get away from home.
Yes.
So in a
Well,
minute we'll talk about those, but just to start the chat off, I just wanted to share this with people watching, which is this is the spring newsletter from the Mountain Bothies Association, which is the brilliant charity that maintains the Bothies.
we are
And
here.
I was just reading this, and the opening remarks are about the fact that they've been locked down, and they are still locked down. And I just wanted to flag that up
Yeah.
for anyone watching this, that this isn't an advert to go to Bothies now; it's an advert to go to Bothies sometime in the future. So,
When Boris allows,
Boris allows, yeah.
and Nicholas.
Now, now we've done some preparation for this chat, and you've kindly agreed to share with us, rather than the usual interview questions, you're going to share with us an actual visit to a bothy, and actually focusing on one of the walks that's in your book,
Indeed.
and you've agreed to Cheneval on the basis that I can pronounce it,
Yeah.
and I've been there, which helps me enormously. So why don't we start that? Why do you get those slides up? Well, before you move on, let's have a little chat about the about your background. Why don't you just tell us what is it you love about Bothies?
Um, I think it's just been so uh, all encompassing in the last few years that I mean it was a hobby of mine before I started writing. I think that it comes down to first off the location of Bothies. They are on some amazing out of the way places, and it's just there's something about waking up in this open shelter, cup of tea in hand, and looking out to these amazing views, thinking, oh, I'm just so lucky to be able to know where these places are and get there. And also, I think an important part, which we will touch on this walk, is making yourself at home. Or the challenge of getting there and making yourself at home. So you kind of have this idea that we're staying in a boutique hotel in my head. So you want to be as comfortable as possible, have a fire, good food, and then um, journey on. Certainly in this book, we're talking about walks from Bothy. Um, and increasingly, as I started writing about them, it's just about the individual character of each Bothy. Um, I know when I started walking, I mean, I come from a geography background, so it's all about the geology or the geomorphology and the history. Reading the landscape in terms of history is been one of the things, the most enjoyable things about doing research for the books. So Chernobyl, for example, has a really rich history. It's one of the most classic Bothies and probably the most written about. So yeah, so
Yeah.
hopefully we'll be able to share a few details about that.
Well,
Um,
it's such a unique network, isn't it? The Scottish Bothy network. Why is it so? Why is it that it is unique? What are the circumstances in Scotland that have created this network? Do you think?
um, it's it's quite easy to pin down in terms of I think it comes down to a kind of lack of planning. They're very haphazard. These spread across the country. There's no planning like they're on a national trail at certain points along the trail, like there would be in New Zealand, or at, like a mountain hut in the Alps, where you'd have a mountain hut and go up to a peak. So it's a very kind of esoteric kind of distribution, and also it's about the landscape. Most of the Bothies are ruins um, from from the time of the clearances and the various stages of depopulation over the years. And the Mountain Bothy Association, as you've mentioned, they really so there were buildings out that people used. It's from the 1930s really, But in the 1960s, the NBA was established, and they started doing renovations of the ruins. And yeah, so each bothy has its own character. So it's not like a formula box, placed along trails and stuff. But I think an important aspect that really I've been thinking about a lot recently is that it was a secret um, word of mouth tradition, and obviously I I published a book which the Scottish Bothy Bible, my first book, which was the reference book to Bothies, and it was controversial. Certainly, had such a lot of positive feedback. But that's still a tradition that's is there. It's part of Bothying because there are still, say, 100 Bothies that are not in the book. So this word of mouth secretive tradition is still there, and that's just that is I think it is that it really is unique. You don't want to overuse that word, um, and so is that the kind of combination of kind of melding of these three aspects that really define why Bothies are different from different mountain hut systems around the world.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. Well, what I love about this book is that you've sort of the Bothy Bible had, I think it was 100 or near 100 sort of Bothies within it, which is a very practical guide. But this narrows down to 28 and then adds a layer around it, doesn't it, of what you can do around that Bothy and how you can enjoy the walk to it. So what was the inspiration for that?
I I actually had the idea at the same time as the Scottish Bothy Bible. So this is because this is the first um, Scottish guidebook that's just the focal point is Bothies. It just the opportunity to write a walking guide is just amazing. But it breaks the mold of a guidebook that's about Munros or national trails. So it's like you have a blank piece of paper. Well, there are some classic routes in the book, but because Bothies are on these amazing different out of the way locations, you can just start piecing together walks um, that that just go to places that are very rarely trod, and it's just one of the things I really didn't anticipate with the success of the book was my role in encouraging people out into the hills. I am able to be very proactive, um, and so the main brief of the book was to be as inclusive as possible. You don't need to be a Munroist to go on a Bothy walk. If you're walking into the Bothies themselves is generally relatively easy. Um, so it was just a joy to have this kind of free reign to not just do hill walks, but there's a walk to a secret beach that's close to a Bothy or a remote lochen that I didn't actually know about until I started doing the research. So it's just like a sweet shop, just kind of narrowing down all these different routes. So there are easy ones and challenging ones. So it's not as though it's just like a country walking guide, So you want to stay loyal to those Bothiers who are really want to set themselves a challenge. But the other thing um, about Bothies is that it's not just day walks. You can do multi-day walks because obviously you're staying in the Bothy. So there's 5 multi-day walks to some of my most favourite Bothies. So it was just a joy to write, and I was just so excited to do it.
Well, this walk that we've chosen takes us into the great wilderness, doesn't it? So it's a good location for a multi-day. I would have thought for a longer experience. Do
Yeah,
you want
well, so the other aspect that I was just really dwelt on, although is the fact that I just kind of want to sort of like re-educate, but just kind of open people's eyes to options that you have. So if you go to Chernobyl, it's all about the Munros, about the famous Fisherfield 5 or Fisherfield 6, one is now called. But so you go in, so in a guidebook you open up, go to Chernobyl, do this massive walk. It's one of the hardest, longest days in Munro terms. But for the walk that we're doing a core book, which is part of the view of the just from the bottom. You can see this magnificent looking hill, but it's a Corbett, not a Munro, and so few people actually go up there. And so I just had the opportunity to write that. I wanted to write about new walks as much as possible. So yeah, so it's just you get
Let's
this
go.
opportunity to bring to a wider audience just an absolutely fantastic walk that very few people do. You know, so
Let's do it. I'm ready and willing. Let's go. First slide.
there's some tough bits that we're going to go through, but uh, off we go. This is a bit of an experiment, but let's try it. And is it going to work? Looks like that. Cool. So we're going Ben Moor and Chernobyl Bothy. Should be an accent on the moor, but
I'll let you off.
So yeah, so this is just briefly. This is Chernobyl Bothy, and the view in the back is of Ben Moor, which is what we're going to climb today. Yeah. Well, actually, we're going to climb tomorrow. We're staying overnight, although the walk is actually laid out as a day walk in the book. Is obviously we talk about base camp. Base camp would be in the Bothy. So, and just to give a quick overview of where we are. So this is Eunice, this is Inverness and Ullapool. So it's out. It's by Anchelic. That's another well-known hill. I'm sure people that are listening will have climbed it or know about it. And so we're parking up at Corryhally car park, and so our first objective is getting to the Bothy.
Can I just interject with a question?
Sure.
So we're setting off. I feel like I'm on a fantasy walk with you now. So my backpack's feeling quite heavy. What have I got in my bag?
Okay.
That
So
different or additional to a normal camping trip. So.
Yes. So we just explained that you take all the stuff you would take camping. So you need to have a camping mindset. But in terms of making yourself at home, you can take extra food, candles, something for the fire, and yeah. So it's not actually that much more than a camping trip. You can choose not to take the tent so that you have more weight available. So yeah, not that much more than you would for a normal camping trip.
Cool.
I often take the newspaper or something. You know, I'm trying to make myself at home here. You know, so a glass of wine. You know, glass of wine.
You take your slippers, Geoff.
Yeah. There are. I think there are Bothy slippers on the market. That's not somewhere I'm going to go.
Okay.
So
how
yeah.
is walking?
So yeah. So one of the things about Scotland is which is amazing is the right to roam. It's a very open access to the hills, but here we are on Scottish Public Rights of Way. There's three classic routes going through. One to the south, which is Kinlochhew, out to the west, Porthew, out to the coast, and Grignard, which is out to the west. But it's getting a bit technical on our walk. So yeah, so we're walking in. We've already. This is actually about 3 miles in. So we walked up the Glen Corrican, over a ford, and then Anchelic is round to the right in this picture, and this is our first view of Ben Moor and the Bothies somewhere in here.
It is absolutely stunning, isn't it? I mean, this road in here, this path in rather, is it's quite a popular Bothy, this, isn't it? So the path is quite clear, but for some of the Bothies in your walks, is it the case that the path is harder to find in some cases?
Yes. I mean, and well, even this section of the path is quite difficult to pick out, especially in the dark. But yeah, a lot of Bothies would be trails are more difficult to find. But again, in the book, it gives me an opportunity to take people to places that are less well trod. You do need some basic navigation skills, but a lot of the time, yeah, it is straightforward. Most Bothy walk-ins are straightforward. It's about distance more than anything else. Some of the more remote Bothies, more involved. So we've arrived at the Bothy. Oh, that was
Delightful.
so I've just put a little little slideshow together. So we've arrived at Bothy, the process of making a home. Carried in, so I carried in. I'm a bit of a pack horse, so in the back here is well, I'm really like Thai fusion food, so I'm treating you well tonight. Bottle of wine. So you transform this environment into this environment. Yeah, I actually did find this log, bring in some coal, but yeah, they call it Bothy TV, the fire. So yeah, the three attributes that most define a Bothy experience is food, fire, and company, and it depends which order. Obviously, fine company this evening, and just this is actually a stock picture of the meal that we're going to have tonight. Strips of fillet steak, rice, and yeah. So that's where we're at. Okay, so yeah, so that, and then we get the morning. So oh yeah, no, we get the route. So the route of the day. So we've got the Bothy. We have to cross two rivers. This is actually one of the most difficult walks in the book. But again, it's difficult to kind of summarize within, because the brief is to talk about all the walks. But just getting to the Bothy is amazing, and that's kind of part of Bothying. It kind of which puts Bothies different to mountain hut systems around the world. Again, this is a kind of tradition where there's no pressure to actually go for a walk. It is about the experience you have in the Bothy, the people you meet. So again, it's the broader range of people that go to Bothies beyond the kind of normal outdoor enthusiasts, which makes for some interesting evenings. So
just to get it in my head, then we've had the lovely Thai meal. Yeah. I've had a beer or two. I've got a bit of a sore head, but this is a full day's walk, and we're setting off the next morning, right?
Actually, it's not actually that far, but it's some technical stuff, and yeah, it's about actually the biggest objective danger is crossing the rivers, and if the rivers are up, then that would stop you. But that is the same about the Fishfield 6. So the Munro walk goes further south here, round to Roostack Moor and Brighton, which is one of the most remote.
The most remote Munro in Scotland, is that right?
So yeah, so it's a kind of stiff test, but it's actually quite a short day. So yeah, and where are we? So yeah, I've set out the most amazing dawn for us. Yeah, I do spend a lot of time talking about photography for anyone who can indulge me, but this morning I actually was early on before I really started writing the first book, and someone went out of the Bothy and just said, "That's the most amazing sunrise," and I was like, "Oh, and then they get up and go, oh my god, don't panic." So we're going up, across two rivers, and then up this rake, and then onto this eastern top, and then up to the top of the Ben Jerry Moor. So yeah, I did. So when I actually did so I've been to Chernobyl, I was counting about 8 times. I just love it out there. It's kind of like the Glencoe of Bothies. Doesn't matter how often you go, it's just an amazing experience. As you say, Wainwright called it the Great Wilderness. It is breathtaking. So this is one of the river crossings. So we're pretty lucky because the river is down. But the second river is a bit more involved, and there used to be a wire bridge, but that's long gone. So it is one of the fantastic things about Scotland is that it's still kind of safe wilderness. You still set yourself some challenges, but it's not. There are no bears, or if you're not right in the middle of nowhere. Although this is pretty remote. So we've crossed 2 rivers, and then we're it's brutal. You go straight up into this runnel, and fortunately, we're almost at the top already. So there you go. So it is quite a steep route. This is one of the top 3 most difficult walks in the book. There are plenty of easier walks, and obviously just walking into the Bothy is satisfying enough.
Is that the Bothy we can see in the distance there? Is that?
Yes. I haven't thought about it. The Bothy's down here. This is Anchelic, looking north. So yeah, we've crossed this 2 rivers and then up we go. So yeah, it was kind of interesting. Bit slippy, but not too bad. And then yeah, here's the summit. Ben Jarrod Moor. It's absolutely this is Corrie of the Stones, and it's just it's amazing every bit. It is breathtaking scenery, and so yeah, we're off up, and yeah, so easy. Got to the summit. This is a breeze. This is a breeze. So
I hate to say it, Geoff, but it looks like that beautiful dawn's been clamped down by the.
yes, no, the continuity is certainly not quite there. So
Great Scotland.
yes, yes. One of the beauties of being able to go out all times of year is that I mean I take all the photography for both books, and yeah, seasonal. You know, there's certain guidebooks you look at, and people have gone out from May to September, and it's all green and blue. But Scotland's obviously much richer than that.
That's a stunning ridge, isn't it?
Yeah, no, and we don't go down it. Yeah, I looked at it, and it is actually it's pretty steep. I have actually walked down there, but we're actually going. So yeah, so I mean, I have free rein. Where are we going on our walk? Okay, um, so we're actually going to go down this slope and down to this heart-shaped locken. You know, and this is Ben Jarrod Beg. And so I think in the majority of guidebooks they would connect the two hills. You know, there's a compulsion to put as much into your day as you can. As a Munro bagger, you know, if you actually start analysing Munro's book, there's some quite contrived walks because you're trying to tick off all these hills, and I, in the book, try to just make elegant rounds or just circuits. Yeah, so just a lot of thought went into the routes, wide geographical spread across the country, and yeah, there's a walk for everyone, and especially in this time of COVID, even more relevant, you know, for people to get out into the open air, into the hills. So, and then yeah, so that's it. We're back to the Bothy, yeah. So in terms of
Oh wow!
in terms of photography, yeah, this I waited about an hour for this rainbow to.
That is amazing. That's absolutely amazing.
The moment just came. So yeah, I think that we are just about it. Although and also yeah, walking and then we'll walk out.
There you are coming out. Well, I mean, a lot of people who will buy your book, I think, will be people who perhaps are wanting to start to Bothy. So, and to go to these places. Is there and thank you for that walk around, by the way. It's absolutely. I mean, next time I go, I'm going to do that. Last time I went, we were climbing the Munros, but I think I missed out. That looks amazing. But what advice would you give to sort of a newcomer to this experience, if there's a key piece of advice?
I think so. If assuming that you have the skills to actually go out overnight, I think going with an open mind is actually really important. It's how you make your experience. So for a newbie, perhaps just go for a day walk. I mean, some Bothies look romantic, but they are kind of cold, dank places. You do kind of need to know what you're doing. But yeah, I mean, these are open shelters, so you just don't know who you're going to meet. So it's just important to be, just be open and chat to people, and it really adds to the experience if you can, just sharing your knowledge and stuff like that, just take some nice things with you as well. A few luxuries if you can put them in your set.
Yeah, Thai meal.
Yeah.
That slide, should we click out there? What I'm interested in asking you is, how do you see the future for Bothying and for that network? What's going to happen, do you think, in the world of Bothies?
Yeah, it's interesting. So, in terms of new Bothies, there have been more new Bothies in England and Wales. It's caught the imagination in other parts of the UK, actually, the majority of members of the NBA are not Scottish or native. In Scotland, there's been 2 new Bothies since I wrote the Scottish Bothy Bible, and there are a couple more I know are on the way. So yes, it's certainly quality, not quantity. It's a slow process, getting permissions and renovating these places, but to keep it very current, one of the walks in the book is to a bothy called Pingmanach. It's a day walk, and Pingmanach has been closed, which is controversial. There's some controversy, but that's opening up as a paid accommodation. Yeah. And I had discussions about this, but it's just the nature of tourism. You know, if somewhere becomes popular, if it's a Spanish fishing village and now it's got a hotel, you know, funny that. So it's very regrettable, and I think people will still be going there. But just heard today that Ancladic is another bothy that's controversial reveal is that's actually going to reopen as with a donation. It's going to leave the NBA. Right. So I think there is that. I think this COVID. I mean, this is kind of off the top of my head that is going to make people reevaluate landowners reevaluate their bothies. So I don't know if any are going to actually close. I think that would be pretty radical. But so in my crystal ball, that I think that is kind of inevitable. That some may change their status, and
well, I think it's great there's so many. I think it's just great there's so many of them, and even 28 you focus. I probably won't get to do all of those. So
yeah, no, I mean, as I was saying, if you do 10 walks, you go to 10 bothies in the book, doing incredibly well. So and there are so many other places to find out about, and
of course.
Yeah. So
and how about yourself? Have you got another project lined up?
Well, I mean, yes, I've got various book ideas, but I have one more Bothy book in me, and exclusive to London Mountain Film Festival. Then I'm in negotiations about a book for a new Scottish coast-to-coast trail, which goes Bothy to Bothy,
wow.
West to east. There will be much more publicity on the way. I think I've decided just to do the reveal first, rather than keep it a secret. So yeah, a really exciting 15 to 20 day walk, a new national trail.
Is every overnight stop a bothy, or is there some tents involved?
The key thing is that it's a lightweight tent expedition, like you're doing the Cape Wrath Trail. But there are bothies on the way. Well, every night is a bothy. So, but it revolves around camping first.
Well, I shan't ask you for any details of where it starts or ends or anything. I think it sounds like a fantastic idea.
No, thank you. Yes, it's a kind of synthesis of the TGO challenge, which is an event. It might cause some more controversy, but. That's the way it goes.
Well, I mean, you know, I think you're introducing people to to an experience that for many people will be quite life changing. You know, I think bothies are quite a different thing, quite a special thing.
They're held in high regard, very precious for a lot of people. I know, but for me, it's about who are the gatekeepers, who's holding this information. I think the vast majority of people
let's end on that note. I mean, I think it was really thrilling going around that walk with you. I think for anyone who's going to buy your book and go to the Bothy, I'm pretty sure it includes the Bothy Code, and the Bothy Code is also on the MBA website, and it's all about respecting these buildings and these places.
Well, it's respecting the buildings, respecting the people, respecting the landowner. It's common sense. Treat other people as though you want to treat yourself.
It's for grown up. Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, thank you very much, Geoff. And
absolute pleasure.
Hopefully, we'll be back in the Highlands soon.
Yeah, and good luck with the festival.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.